Today I'd like to share with you a story of one of my paintings because I'm on my journey to become an artist. So we'll see how this will go, but these are part of my journey, and this was one important piece in that. So okay, if you are artist, you can clearly see that this is not like a high quality painting, but I love it because it's so symbolical for me. And so let me share the story. Um, 3 years ago, 3, 4 maybe, I found, like in Florence, I found an art studio where I was able to paint. Like there was an offer, like 1 day class, and it was so fun. I tried it, and since then I was there so many times. And in the last summer, I was in Florence again, and I just was not able to go there. The artist was somewhere else, so I didn't paint that time. So after I turned back, I was like, oh, okay, so I can try it myself. So I started and I tried, and in the beginning is so much fun. Like I didn't use brush, but I don't know the name of that, but it was like so much freedom. I love it because it's, you can just, it's quite a big, and you can just put layers of color, and it's, at the end it has such a beautiful structure. Like I painted, for example, this in 1 year ago while I was there. But when I'm painting there with the artist, so I always I do something and then I get stuck. And so he just look at that and just tell me like, oh, okay, this works, this doesn't work, just do this, or he just do that himself, and I can move again in just few seconds. If I get unstuck and I can move on. But at home, he was not there and I got stuck. But totally, it was, the painting looks so terrible. I didn't record it back then, but now I like, oh, what a pity I didn't record it, because it was like a messy process and it looks terrible. So I just put that aside, and I didn't turn back to that until this year, because this year I started, like I really committed to painting. I'm on the artist way, 10th week. So I decided like, okay, I watched also a lot of tutorials on YouTube, and one of them, Dimitra Milan, she's awesome. But she she painted like underpainting with acrylics, and then the last like final layer with oils, and it looked like, oh wow, she's awesome. Of course, she's a painter from 15 years old. So I wanted to try that, and so I used this like bad painting, like, okay, there's nothing to, there's no way I can make it even worse than it already is. So I was like free enough and playful enough, and I just did that with oils. And of course it looked like, it didn't look like when Dimitra showed it, like, of course, but expectations. But so I put it aside again, and instead I painted another painting. I tried, and I was so surprised, like actually it's this one. And I was surprised, like, oh, it not so bad. So maybe I could. So I painted another one, and then I decided, like, because it was still like unfinished, and it was like, like a mental clutter, like it's still there and it's unfinished. So I decided, okay, either I will finish that or I will throw that away, but okay, let's work on that. So I started again, and it's somehow it felt easier, somehow it was like the color, like this one, I started to feel even the doors like, it was better before. And so but then it was already, I didn't have any expectations because it looked terrible before, and so it was not good as well. So like nothing to it, I detached from the result, and I just let myself just experiment, like, let's try this and let's see what will happen. And it was just a joyful process. It was so liberating as soon as I realized, like, okay, it will never be beautiful, or I'm not like able to make it just valuable or artistic, or I don't know, even the composition and everything, like, okay, so I can play. And I didn't care much about the result, and it was so like, it was so liberating. So I played with that, and in some moment I decided, like, okay, I'm done with this. I just wanted to be finished. So I tried even the most difficult part. I was avoiding this part because it looked so difficult, and then I tried, and it was difficult actually, and it looked like, I will never make it. But then I, like, in some moment, like, okay, let's do it this way. Done, finished, I'm done with it. But now as I'm looking at it, like, oh, it really looks like the shadow of this, so it's, I can see that there, and it doesn't matter if maybe it's not obvious for you, but yeah. So I realized, like, you know what, this is an expression, like, for me it's like accepting the part of the journey where I am right now. Okay, this is the best what I was able to produce right now, and it's okay because I can turn back to that later and maybe see the difference, hopefully. And I still feel the freedom and the joy of experimenting, and just, yeah, for me it's there. So this is, although it's not beautiful itself, for me it's, I love it. And it's, and I realize now that recently, yesterday or 2 days ago, I cancelled another painting that was not so bad, but I just didn't like it anymore. It didn't excite me anymore. It was orchid, and I realized that actually I have nothing against orchids. I love them as a plant. But if I'm painting something, I want it to be expression of myself, and I definitely wouldn't express myself as an orchid because it's so like luxurious and elegant. The energy is completely different. No, I'm wild, I'm more simple and more crazy, and I'm definitely not orchid. So I canceled that, and so this one I didn't cancel, although, so yeah. So in the process of painting, I'm learning about myself, and I love it. I realized, like, I learned so much about my life, about myself from this process. Like, I just committed to do that, and as I'm learning to paint and I'm more skilled with my hand, I'm learning about myself, I'm learning about life. So I I definitely suggest, like, even for you, like, try to become more creative and more free, because if you are just playing with it without the attachment to the result, it's so liberating. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share today. Thank you for watching. Bye.